For more on the 10-year anniversary of Hurricane Katrina, we're joined from the heart of New Orleans by historian Douglas Brinkley, the author of The Great Deluge about the disaster. Mr. Brinkley, I want to start with, help us understand help us apportion the blame for the disaster of Hurricane Katrina. Who was at fault and how much were they at fault?
Well, George W. Bush did a terrible leadership job during that crisis. He kind of acted like nothing was happening wrong for the first days. He had been in San Diego where he played air guitar, and then he did the famous flyover, being very detached from the devastation, and that photograph that damaged his presidency immensely of him just peering down at the abyss. Then when he did come back and land in the Gulf South, he put his arm around Michael Brown saying, "Brownie, you did a heck of a job." That soundbite became the Bush soundbite. It was about dysfunction. Everybody, it was even connected in a way to the war in Iraq. The Bush administration saying things are going great when things weren't going great. So he was very poor during that leadership moment. FEMA did terrible, as we all know, but the Coast Guard was amazing. Some individuals in the Louisiana National Guard did a great job. But it was really Louisianans saving Louisiana and Mississippians saving Mississippi in those crucial first 72 hours. Mayor Nagin went in hiding. Now he's in jail on the 10th anniversary. William Jefferson, the congressman from Louisiana, went to jail for corruption. So there was just dysfunction at the federal, state, and local level everywhere you looked.
And there was a lot of dysfunction before the weather ever hit. I mean, in terms of the levees and the Corps of Engineers, just as people think about, there's the criticisms of President Bush and the kind of the public relations aspect of this, which we can get back to. But in terms of the nuts and bolts of the levees breaking and that kind of thing, what should people have in mind as they look back on this incident?
They should be angry at the Army Corps of Engineers for building shoddy levees. It was a disastrously built system. It breached in over 50 different places. The media naturally covered the three major breaches, and the city of New Orleans filled up like a bowl with water. 80% of the city flooded. The Army Corps did a terrible job. And also these boondoggle engineering projects in the Gulf South, a thing called the Mississippi River Gulf Outlet, that was supposed to connect the Gulf of Mexico to the port of New Orleans and the Mississippi River. It's closed now on the 10th anniversary, but in lawsuits, it shows that the Army Corps for Mr. Go has to pay $3 billion, it just came out this week, $3 billion for wetlands restoration. So the ragged boot heel of Louisiana has been terribly mismanaged. It's an ecological disaster zone, and it's over-engineering and overthinking about man controlling of nature. We're killing the wetlands down here.
In this situation, you had people who'd been warning about this kind of thing perhaps happening to New Orleans before Hurricane Katrina hit. As you say, the Army Corps of Engineers failed on this. What's your sense about the government's ability to take on big, long-term challenges where there isn't an immediate threat? Has anyone learned the lesson here that if you don't take these possible threats seriously, eventually this kind of thing could happen?
I think a lot of lessons have been learned. I mean, for one example, Mayor Nagin kept all of the school buses, the rescue buses, below sea level, so when Katrina hit, all of the buses drowned. We know better. Do not keep your rescue vehicles in a below sea level situation when a hurricane comes. Pull your asset out of the bowl, and when the storm comes, you at least can move people from facilities like the Superdome or the Convention Center. The Coast Guard had learned that previously, and that's why they had done such a good job. But every community in America needs to make the operation protocol make sense, and it's usually the mayor that's in charge of that. But we had an utter breakdown in Katrina, and hopefully our country learned some lessons from it. Hopefully the billions poured in down here, the levee system can sustain at least a Category 3 storm. Some people are skeptical, but we'll never know unless another storm comes.
All right, Douglas Brinkley, thank you so much for being with us. Sorry about the satellite hiccups there for a moment, but we very much appreciate you being with us.